Okay, everybody. The Body Talks is officially recording. Whoop. Woo. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
How are you?
Exhausted.
We haven't even started the conversation.
No, we haven't, but you'll give me energy again. I know you will.
Yes. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Yeah. Travelled into London. I'm now in this booth of emotion.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. Booth of emotion. Okay, well, welcome everybody to the Body Talks. Welcome, Laura. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank
Laura Mathias. Mathias.
My thigh ass. Why have I done it to myself?
Okay, well, welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited. You were one of my guests at the Body Talks Instagram Lives ages ago. And then we've been working on the Trinity Takeover show together. And then I've seen you thriving. And it's so exciting to have you back here to reflect back on what was discussed, but also where are you at now and how these all evolved. I don't know. I think so. Sorry. But before we start all these, let's start with an audio description.
Okay.
For accessibility.
Good.
I am wearing, I am a white, tall, curvy woman. I am wearing a colorful dress, black, green, purple. It looks like what you see when you look at the scan, like, I don't know if it gives the idea. And then I'm wearing, you know what I mean? Like you see, as if when you go and...
It's an aura scan. People get aura scans now for the colours around their body. That's what it looks like.
I am wearing an aura scan dress, long, with some... Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then I'm wearing a chain. I've never done really this.
You can tell.
I am smiley. I have some purple and green eyeshadow. I have my hair up, some curls in front of my face, and 2 ear cuffs, silver ear cuffs that I hope won't disturb the sound. But if you hear, that's what it is. Laura.
I feel played in comparison because you look epic. So I am a white, tall, curvy woman with a smooth, shiny bald head in this spotlight. I'm wearing a linen dark green blouse, some grey jeans and some boat shoes that you probably wouldn't be able to see anyway, but I've just visually described them. I don't have any gorgeous makeup or jewellery on actually today, but this is why I was excited to meet with you because you always bring the vibes and the looks. So.
Thank you. But you look gorgeous and your hazel green eyes really go well with your top. So
love it. Thank you.
Top notch. And with the background of the blue. We are in a very blue studio in Haggerston in London and it's giving us the vibes. Let's start with a big breath. I'm going to do it for myself as well. 3 actually. 1. 2. And 3. Okay.
That was good. God, I needed that.
Hello, Laura.
Hey.
Welcome to the room. Welcome to the Body Talks.
I already feel calmer.
Great. I feel like I'm going to do an audio description in case the one earlier was too crazy. Or maybe not.
I quite like how we went from being quite manic and then hearing the impact that you just had because I needed that. So if anyone's listening, I'd be interested if they did it along and their mood changed as well.
Okay. Oh. So I also had an idea to include a little exercise that has to do with breathing and with like proprioception. So we can do it together. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get you to close your eyes and have another breath. Breathe again 3 times. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it again. So, second. And again. keep your eyes closed, little body scan, like feel all the parts of your body, settle in. So I am asking you if there is a body part that you're feeling that is feeling a bit like uncomfortable or needs some attention right now. And if you're feeling a connection with a body part that maybe has been making you feeling subconscious or like uncomfortable in the past, what that might be, and to send some energy to that body part. And how is that feeling right now? And if you're comfortable sharing, if that body part is telling you something right now, or you want to tell something to that body part right now, if you're comfortable sharing where you're at. And then we sit with this and we regroup at the end of the conversation. But is there anything you would like to share with us?
With my eyes shut right now.
You can also open your eyes now. But
Listening to my body.
Yeah.
My tummy has been giving me all sorts of things. It's definitely where I hold my emotion. But I don't think it's emotion today. I just think, it's just a bit gurgly and I'm very aware of it. And I'd say historically my tummy generally has been, I think, as most people find, an area that I'm often trying to hold in or suck in or disguise, or typically if I was sitting on a sofa as I am right now, wanting to grab the cushion next to me and sit with it to cover my, to disguise my tummy rolls. But yeah, no, I feel a lot in my stomach these days. I don't know why. That's just, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I hear you. And
did you hear the tummy gurgle as well? Luckily, the microphone's not that close.
Yeah, but I also totally resonate with that. I haven't done this exercise. Maybe I should have done it, but the focus now is on you, and probably tummy would be the same thing as me. And also setting up this conversation and looking at myself in the camera. Same thing. I look at that. I was like, okay, I so want a cushion now to cover everything. Also, I'm subconscious of my arms and everything. But at the same time, I've done a little bit of enough, probably, hopefully, enough work on myself to be like, no, Chloe, the important thing is the conversation with Laura today. And also being able to show up as we are, as the people we are today and the women we are today is like more important than covering everything that is uncomfortable. So I'm actually glad you brought this up, because it's part of probably our journey in self-confidence. And so maybe we can start with this, because I prepared a few questions for you, but I want to really go with the flow and with the energy, with the emotions. And you are an ambassador for also self-confidence. We're going to go towards alopecia later, but we can maybe start through your journey on self-confidence. Because I also think that to be able to be an ambassador for other people, you need to have done some work on yourself. And yeah, maybe let's talk about that. Like, where did everything come from? And when did you start feeling confident in your skin? If you feel like you are right now, where are you at?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that the expectation would be that I've done work on myself to get to a point where I can then be on some kind of platform, or, I don't know, be then leading the way or putting the hand back and pulling other people up, because I don't necessarily see my confidence journey like that. It's definitely not been linear. And the fact that you asked me to check in with myself there, and my instinct was, no, there's still self-consciousness there. So I just think it's really important to be honest and say, there are days where I feel like, no, I've got this. I'm a big, bald, beautiful bitch. It's great. And then there are lots of days where I still don't love my body and I still don't feel great in it. But I choose to show up in this world basically faking it till I make it, because I know that that could impact someone else in a positive way. So it's kind of being an ambassador for, charities like Changing Faces and supporting people with living with a visible difference and talking about it. It's not necessarily a selfless thing. That's my healing journey. I knew that by giving myself the title of campaigner and like wanting to change things more beyond my own experience, that is in itself helping my experience, So, but no, I wouldn't say deep down I have changed actually too much since that 13-year-old me. On the outside, I think people would be shocked to hear that, because they're like, well, you've walked London Fashion Week, you've gone and done a photo shoot. Literally yesterday I did a photo shoot. But it's still not natural. It's something that I am kind of forcing myself to do because I know I always feel better afterwards. But it's an active choice. I'm actively working on my confidence every time I say yes to an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love this honesty that you're bringing to the table right now, because it's impossible to be confident every day and to expect people that are ambassadors for something or for some confidence. Any ambassador or anyone that leads the way to actually be confident every day, they're probably, yes, struggling with self-confidence a lot. And the fact that we are being honest about it, also on social media, because you do that very open-heartedly on social media as well. When on Instagram you share how you're feeling, how your head, your skin feels, and that's reality, that's part of who you are. That's super refreshing and super honest, and I think that makes you an even more iconic ambassador than someone that just shows themselves when they are just perfect. No one is perfect, but like when they are the best at the best all the time. So I really thank you for this answer, because it's really impactful. So you said 13 years old. What happened then?
Well, my parents, God bless them, had a very traumatic, angry divorce, which made our whole home life really difficult, like really, really difficult by anyone's standards. So, 4 of us in the family home, we each responded to that trauma in a different way. My sister moved out at 17 because she just wanted to escape it. But I was 13 and I had nowhere to go. So I was in this very angry household, and clearly, body keeps the score. I started noticing I had a bald patch at the back of my head. When I say I noticed, actually, that's a lie. The hairdresser noticed. I was going to get my hair styled because I was already a chubby, kind of tomboyish, eczema-ridden kid. But my hair was the like girly thing about me that, I thought going up to the age of 13, when all of a sudden your value lies in how you look. And I was trying to be a bit more, air quotes, feminine, at that age, or whatever my concept of that was at 13 years old. And yeah, so this bald patch was discovered, and we then went to the doctors, and the doctor gave it this name. Oh, that's alopecia. And he was like, well, you know how you've got eczema all over your skin? And I was like, yes, I am aware. Thank you. He was like, well, your predisposition to have other autoimmune conditions. I don't remember if this is exactly the terminology he used, but I remember sitting in that doctor's office and not really understanding what was happening and all these words flying at me. And I was like, cool, what's my prescription? Like, what are we going to do to fix this bald patch at the back of my head? And there wasn't one. It was basically like, calm down. You can try this cream in a bit. If it doesn't help, you've just got to wait it out. I'm sure it will come back. And he sent me on my way. I remember saying to my mum, like, what? Like, what next? And I just remember the concern in her eyes, because it's just, if anyone listening knows about autoimmune conditions, they're so random. It's the body literally attacking itself for no flipping reason whatsoever, arguably triggered by stress for some people. And I was just told, you've got alopecia, go on your way, hopefully it will come back. But it didn't. The patches grew until I was basically rocking an undercut before they were cool. And I didn't know how to disguise the fact that I was basically going bald at the age of 13 very quickly over the space of weeks and months. And so I stopped going to school. I just one day couldn't go. And, one day became a week, and then a week became 2. All of a sudden it was a month, and my parents were like pleading with me. And I just couldn't go. And that lasted for 6 months. And I basically didn't leave the house. And that was all because of this drastic sudden change in my appearance. And I couldn't see anyone around me in the world that looked like me and was normalising being a bald girl, a bald woman. And so I think that's probably the driving force for why I try and show up now without a wig as much as possible. Sorry, there was also a spider on my head as we were talking there, which was very distracting. But hey, hopefully that means money's coming my way.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. So we didn't start with introductions. But how would you introduce yourself? Laura Mathias.
So I'd say I'm Laura Mathias, and I try not to slap my thigh and point to my ass as I do it. And I'd say I'm a visible difference campaigner, showing up in this world as a big, bald woman, and trying to learn to embrace that for myself and set an example for others.
Love it. So yes, so I was saying we met online over the pandemic.
Yes, ages ago.
And we were chatting about you and your wanting to be an ambassador and what changed from lockdown to now. Like, I've seen you, well, we worked together on the Trinity Takeover show. So I already saw your journey going up and up, and it's been incredible to see, because already between the lockdown and when we filmed that episode, I already saw a shift in confidence, but also in your sort of self-awareness, and also in your mission to I remember the what you said in the show was like, I want to be able to decide whether to wear the wig, not wear the wig, and not having to be tied to one or the other, like having the choice. We were talking about dating, we were talking about so many things. And then the career kicked off. You started modeling, you started doing campaigns. I saw you working with LinkedIn, working with like so many other brands, you're ambassador for Changing Faces UK. Yeah, how are you feeling about where you're at right now compared to how you were feeling over lockdown?
I'm a completely different person now to who I was in lockdown. I don't think that's an overestimation, is it? And yeah, it's amazing because you have been some key milestones in that journey. It's interesting when we talk about trajectory, because I don't see it as like, oh, it's on the up and up. And actually, when we caught up before we pressed record today and we were just chatting, and you were like, oh, how are you doing? And I was like, I feel really busy, but a bit aimless. Like, I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff all the time, but I'm not often good at thinking, okay, but what is this all working towards? But actually, I think a big part of that is really lovely hearing you kind of summarize and talk back for me the things that I've done and that you see growth in me, because I think I'm pretty guilty of not stopping and often looking back and reflecting on that. And yeah, I never dreamed back when we talked on Body Talks on an Instagram Live that I'd do any of those things. Like, yeah, a LinkedIn advert where I literally had to write the script and act, air quotes, was quite something. You have to find it, or we'll drop it in the show notes. I hope that would be lovely, because yeah, I had to play both me as bald Laura and then like a colleague, a disgruntled, confused colleague, which was me in a wig, kind of interacting with this bald colleague in the kitchen. And yeah, stuff like that's amazing to do, because that's a channel that's all about the workplace that I didn't think they'd be open to having conversations about living with a visible difference, or alopecia specifically. So I do feel now I can say I am a campaigner because of the things I've achieved in the last 4 years. God, yeah.
Yes. Can I drop in a TED Talk as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that thing. Someone has just done a TED Talk. Do you want to talk to us about it?
Yeah, so my TED Talk, Why My Bald Head Makes You Feel Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I did that filmed it last year, and it took a while for it to come out. So that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done, because TED is such a big brand, isn't it? And it feels like it's a big deal. And it's all very well calling yourself a campaigner and saying you have a message, but then to be told you've got a stage and you've got X amount of time, what is the one idea or message you want to get across? And I had about 3.5 weeks notice of doing that. And I just did what I always do. I procrastinated for a bit. And then I tried to distill all the different things I wanted to say. And somehow I came out with, I'd argue, it's a talk that does touch on lots of different things. I talk about weight at some points. I talk about not commenting on people's appearance generally. I do talk about my experience of when I first lost my hair. I talk about dating. I cover a lot, but people's reactions have been really positive, and I think it has made people think, or at least it got them to understand my experience. So I'm really pleased I did that. Yeah. I want to do more stuff like that, because I think I need the deadline. I need, ADHD.
Yeah.
those goals help me find the direction that I think I'm lacking naturally as a bit of a big picture person.
And out of all these topics, because I have noted that I want to talk to you about all these topics, but it's a lot to talk about. Is that something that you think that maybe you didn't have the chance to expand fully on, or something that maybe from the last time you talked about it that you're feeling different about something? For example, I don't know if you want to talk about the dating. That's something that came up when we were talking on the online during lockdown, and then came up on the Trinity Takeover show. You're talking about being feminine with the wig and otherwise not feeling feminine enough, and a feeling that men or people wouldn't be as attracted with you without the wig. And now, I mean, you will say, but I think you are in a new relationship.
Yeah. So I'm 5 months nearly into a new relationship, and in his own words, he's known me 99.9% of the time as bald Laura. He's seen me in a wig once, and it was the most hilarious thing. I did not warn him. It was like date 5, and he came to my house, and the front door was open, and there was 2 things. I was putting the bins out, and I had a wig on, and he was like, 1, it's very unusual for you to be doing house chores, so I was already confused, and 2, you were wearing a wig, and I didn't know, you didn't brief me, and so I thought there was a stranger in your house. So he was in like stranger danger mode, and then I turned around, he was like, I could literally see him like reconfiguring, because obviously it's my face, but he just had never considered me wearing hair. And it was fascinating, and it took him a good 10-15 minutes. I could see, I was talking to him, I was chatting, and I could see he was just still taking it in, and I like called him on it. He was like, yeah, I just need to get used to it. He was like, it's not one thing, it's not another, it's just different. And I thought it was really interesting, because if it had been the other way around and it was the first time he was seeing me bald, if he'd have responded like that, and I have had responses like that actually in earlier relationships, I'd have really struggled confidence-wise with that, because I'd be like, you meant to be minimizing this, like it shouldn't be a big deal, it's just hair and all these things. It's not just hair. And we all know, change the colour of your hair, change your hairstyle, like it does. It just, any kind of change takes a while for people to adjust. And the absolute hypocrisy of me, if he has a haircut, I tell him he has to warn me, because I need to mentally prepare for the change. So I recognise I'm a big old hypocrite. But I have been dating the most amazing person, and I haven't felt like I need to dress up, or I haven't felt unfeminine with him. No. And I've even met his parents without a wig, which that was the scariest thing, actually. That felt big, like rocking up as bald Laura, which I've realised now is just Laura. What? Mic drop? But actually, like I honestly think now, I'd be curious, like, if there's a big family event coming up, I might want to get dressed up. And part of that, as an extension of an outfit, might be that I want to wear a wig, and that's okay. But it's been so long, because I've been focusing so much of my energy embracing bald Laura, or Laura, I think I'd almost have anxiety attached to wearing a wig now, because that would be the new thing that people would have to adjust to, as he showed on our 5th date.
Wow. So you met him without the wig?
Yeah, so on a dating app, most of my photos, I think all 4 out of 5 of photos were bald, and then one of them was like with a pink wig or something. And I led saying, big bald and owning it or something. I basically made it another channel to do some campaigning, let's be honest. And our first date was me bald. No, I wore a bandana, and then it was so hot in the pub, I ended up taking it off. And I remember kind of having to work up. He was probably talking about something fascinating, and I'd zoned out for about 5 minutes because I was egging myself up. Egging, hey, to get the egg out. And it was fine. It was a non-issue. And that was all really good. I would say dating apps and, the algorithm for all these apps, if I put best photo on, it would always automatically change my preview photo to me in a wig. And that infuriated me.
What?
Yeah. So I had to manually override that and always choose to put my bald photo first.
Wow. Biases.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So really interesting, from an accessibility inclusion perspective. Yeah. And I did have some weird interactions with people, like can I ask why are you bald? Like being the opening message I'd get on the apps. And I was like, okay, cool. Whereas I don't think my boyfriend did ask that question. It would have come up at some point, but it just didn't seem to be a thing, which is good.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Yeah. Because probably there will be other bold people around being like, should I go on the apps? How's the reaction? Will I meet the person? So it's good to hear your experience on that.
Yeah, I mean, I love the guy I'm dating, so I don't want to be single again anytime soon, because who wants to be single in their 30s? Because society makes you feel like a frickin' witch. But it was fascinating how many people, when I was sharing at the start of the year, being on the dating apps and stuff, how many people in the hair loss community were like messaging me, fascinated by how I was dealing with it and how I was finding it and comparing notes, because it's a big thing. And I think whether you're bald or whether you have a skin condition or whether you're self-conscious about your tummy, like we were saying at the start, like we've all got a thing that we wish we could change. And that could be for many different reasons. A lot of the time I'd argue it's because society has told us so. And yeah, there's something about showing up in dating where we just, like, appearance is such a big thing. So as a visible difference campaigner, it's a really fascinating area of life, and one that, yeah, did preoccupy me for quite some time. And I'm not going to pretend I'm super confident with my boyfriend. I'm sure, like, I might meet his grandparents at like their big anniversary soon, and I'm like, do they know I'm bald? Do I have to brief them? Do I have to ask him to brief them? These questions still do run in my head. You know, I don't want to give anyone a heart attack if they're not expecting it and they're super traditional. But why is it traditional to show up as a woman and have hair? Because we don't see anyone else very often being just a bald woman, you know, in a dress, in a summer dress at a party or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's hope I don't give anyone a heart attack. I think it would be bonkers if it did, but yeah.
Yeah, but now we do more and more see bold, amazing women and people around.
We do. And you're right, we do. I think I'm now at the stage, because I've curated my own social media feed and the company I keep to try and be as diverse as possible. And obviously I follow so many amazing, you know, bald, beautiful people. So sometimes I have to remind myself when, like, I have people double take me in the street. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's still new for them, because of course it's not new for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's kind of like, I'm not going to talk about politics, but, you know, like when we're all in our little bubble on social media and then you're like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I also am on my bubble on social media because I curated my feed as well to be able to have as much diversity as possible. So it's the same thing sometimes. We don't remember that some people are not used to actually see reality, but they're used to just see the little, their own little bubble themselves. Wow, okay. So you didn't go to school for 6 months. And then what happened? What made you go back? Did you go back?
I did go back to school because it got to the end of an academic year. I was basically off for all of year 9 in the UK, so, you know, 13 to 14. And in the UK, year 10 and year 11 is when you start your GCSEs, which are the big exams to then effectively, you know, they make you feel like that will shape or make or break your life, these exams. And I come from a family of teachers, so I think there was some kind of pressure, or there was some awareness that, like, this can't go on for another academic year. That was my make or break. So that summer holidays, my hair loss was just getting worse and worse. I basically went into talks with the hairdresser that first found the bald patch, where I asked if they could blow dry what was left of my hair every morning to try and disguise all the patches. And they offered to open the salon early each day to do that. And we were just trying to find all these ways for me to disguise my difference so that I could get back to school, which seemed to be the priority. But for whatever reason, we decided that wasn't the case. So at the start of year 10, I remember my mum dropping me off at school, and I decided I would wear a hairband as big as possible. And I was just, you know, like barely moving my neck in the hope that I could just, hopefully no one would look at my head. But I mean, it was horrible. I remember how anxious I was. I'm someone that has anxiety generally, but my God, if I had to put myself back in my body at that age on that day of being dropped back at school after over 6 months of not being there with no explanation for all my peers. I had lost about 4 stone because all I'd done at the time was barely eat and sit on an exercise bike all day. So you could argue I'd developed anorexia as well. Sorry, trigger warning. Because controlling my body weight back then was clearly on some level something I could control, where my hair was drastically falling out. So yeah, I remember being dropped off at the school gates and the friends I hadn't seen in like 6 months screaming my name and running towards me and all surrounding me and embracing me in this massive hug. And they were so pleased to see me, and it was amazing. And in that moment, at least, it kind of felt like everything was going to be okay. But of course, it was school and I was a balding 14-year-old at this stage. There was lots of obstacles to overcome. So I survived back in year 10 for about 2 weeks wearing headwear and hats. All the teachers were supposedly briefed. I'd asked to be sat at the back of classes so no one could see the back of my head and all the bald patches. That often wasn't the case, so I had to self-advocate in every classroom, which is already incredibly awkward as a 14-year-old. And yet, hilariously, I remember hustling so that I was still in top grade for some subjects, which is just ridiculous. I'd missed a year of school and then deep down somewhere was still like confident Laura, because I was like, no, I think you'll find I need to be in this one. I could see it coming. I was like,
yes, a confident Laura.
So, yeah, confident Laura hustling to still be in top grade. The turning point was about 3 weeks back into being back at school. I was probably barely surviving because all my thoughts all day long were consumed with, are people looking at my head? People have asked me why my appearance has changed. The boys in school were like, did you have a baby? Like, why have your body changed so much? Even at that age, it seems like people think they have a right to ask you about changes to your appearance, which is just bizarre. And we went on a school trip and I was asked to remove my headwear. I was wearing a woolly hat because we were in a Catholic building. And we all had to walk down these steps to look at some monument and then walk up the other side as all the kids were looking over. And everything about that scenario was my worst nightmare, because not only by removing my hat, none of my hair had been blow dried or was ready. So I was basically rocking a Gollum look. It was just spots of bald patches everywhere. And it was mortifying and horrible. And I went into fight or flight, but I did it. I took my hat off and I remember being like, well, this is ridiculous. And getting back onto the coach and calling my mum and saying, I need to get a wig now. And she said, thank God, I've been waiting for you to ask. And I remember being so relieved and angry in that moment, because I was like, well, how am I meant to know what to do? I thought someone would tell me. Like, I didn't realise a wig was an option for a 14-year-old. Like, what? And then after that, I took a week off school, got a wig fitted, styled on my head by that same hairdresser again that was at every step, and left that salon. They'd kept it open late at night to shave my head for me and put the wig on and style it on my head. And I did not go out in public again for 17 years without wearing a wig. Until Q pandemic and meeting you and, yeah, other things. So, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Whew.
Sorry, that was a lot.
That was a lot. No. It's good. I didn't know the whole story, and yeah, I mean, I would say thank you for sharing. Wow. So many. Okay, wait, what made you want to go online and actually share about your experience?
I think after 17 years of wearing a wig and refusing to talk about it, and by doing so, I thought that was me taking control of my alopecia, my visible difference. I thought that was me proving that I'm not going to let this define me. I've solved the problem because I've hidden my hair loss, so it's done. And I want to be judged like anyone else would. So I don't want, anyone to make assumptions about my health or anything. But that's not how I felt. I wasn't dealing with it. I was thinking about wearing my wig every single day. I was constantly self-conscious. Are people looking at my eyebrows, which I was drawing on? Are they noticing my fake hairline? under this particular light in the restaurant, there's a synthetic sheen to this, even this human hair wig. How do I afford my next wig? I can't go on that holiday. Oh, I can't sleep over that person's house. Oh, if this guy wants to kiss me, how am I going to deal with him touching my neck? What if he feels the base of my wig? It was constant and it was exhausting. And I didn't realize how exhausted I was. So I think, like most people, when the pandemic happened, everything just kind of stopped, didn't it? And it really made me reassess everything. And also just that disruption to the daily routine. I'd never stopped to think about the impact that wearing a wig was having on me. And I would roll out of bed and shower, cover myself in my eczema in cream, take a deep breath and put a wig on my very, very sore open cut head from the wear and tear of wearing a wig every day when I already have very sore skin, pencil my brows on and go about my day. There was no question that that's what I had to do to exist in this world. So the literal disruption of that routine, because I was working from home and just a Zoom call. So I was like, oh, I can just whip my wig off in between, because at home, I would always be taking my hair off because it was so uncomfortable. I would do that with my curtains closed though. I was basically a prisoner in my own house. Now I look back and I realise. And I didn't answer the door to the postman and things like that. But pandemic, everything was at home, wasn't it? So work me was suddenly from my study and all these things. And I was forced to bring those two different identities together effectively. The public facing Laura, which I thought had to be, wig presentable Laura, and at home Laura, which was, bald head out, letting my skin breathe and being comfortable. The big thing for me was realizing the less I wore my wig, how much the eczema on my scalp started to heal. And it was a huge wake up call that I don't have eczema on my head. That's not just a condition I have. I have cuts on my scalp because I've been wearing a wig every single day for 17 years, regardless of heat, sweat. And it turns out actually an allergic reaction to some of the materials in a certain wig I was wearing, So I realized during that time that I was literally harming myself, unquestionably harming my body, because that's what I thought I had to do to be palatable to the world. And I think that really visceral realization was a really important wake-up call for me to then start questioning, why am I feeling like I have to wear a wig? And is there any way I could exist in this world? Why am I so terrified to be seen by a neighbour through the window with just a bandana on or my bald head out? And that's what led me to find community online in the pandemic. So that was the step. There's no way at this point I'm a campaigner. There's no way at this point I'm even thinking about sharing my story. I'm just thinking about, can I open my curtains at nighttime when my lights are on inside? Because I'm still not there yet. But, searching alopecia on Instagram, the metaphorical curtains literally drew back because I'd always thought I was on my own and I must be the only person struggling this badly and feeling this way. And there were all these people either embracing their alopecia and never thinking they need to wear a wig ever and never had, or there were people sharing like me, God, we're in lockdown now. I'm not having to go out as much. Oh, maybe I don't need to wear a wig as much at home. And just finding the community that I never knew had existed was a massive, massive change for me. And from there, that's what kind of lifted me up to become a part of that community and then hopefully even become, a voice in that community.
Wow. And what was the most impactful thing that happened to you or that you felt really relevant of being part of that community?
I think seeing other people be prepared to be vulnerable online let me know that I can do that as well, because without belittling the experience of anyone else or myself, I wasn't finding people online that were celebrities or superhuman or special or different, in the sense that, if anything, it was familiar to me, these people with bald heads, this was the thing. But yeah, I think more than just being vulnerable, by watching people's stories and kind of seeing that they're beautiful, and I would be looking at these images of particularly women showing up without a wig and thinking, fuck me, how beautiful is that woman? And by realising if I can see that in them, why wouldn't someone looking at me think the same about me? And that was just like mind-blowing. Because for years I was unable to look in a mirror without a wig. I would only look in a mirror, in fact, to put my wig on. Like when washing my hands in public toilets and stuff, most women will check their makeup, I would actively avoid it because I just couldn't bear to look at myself, even in a wig, because I felt like a fraud. It wasn't serving me anymore, but I didn't realise how many mixed up, messy emotions were associated with me in wearing a wig or not wearing a wig. But yeah, the biggest game changer for me was being able to finally recognise the beauty in other bald people. And that in turn started me thinking, well, maybe I'm beautiful too.
And are you now fully convinced and aware of the fact that you are absolutely gorgeous?
Not every day, because I'm human, you know. I don't look in the mirror and think, oh yeah, yeah, double gun fingers. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are days when you're feeling like in your prime. Well, for me, so I shouldn't be abstract about this, because actually the days I feel best about myself generally then make me feel good about my appearance. And the two kind of come together. But there's this weird duality to what I'm trying to do and what I think about, where it's like I don't want my value to be based on my appearance. And yet I think we all know, having a good body image day can be make or break in terms of how your day goes generally, in terms of how you interact with strangers, friends, loved ones. Like, it really can. So I have to lie to myself sometimes, because if I'm not feeling it for whatever reason physically that day, I just lean into what is it about me that makes me feel powerful and good. And I'm thinking, like 3 weeks ago, I had a day as a campaigner where I was at a creative agency and they were pitching ideas to us and they wanted our feedback as people with visible difference, you know, and I just felt totally in my element that day and in the flow and like amazing. And I didn't think once for hours about how I looked, if I needed to powder my head, you know, where was I sitting in a room? Could anyone see the back of my head? All these things that when I'm not feeling my best, I seem to fixate on elements of my body and my appearance. And that's kind of where my anxiety kind of lingers. And when I was in my element that day, being a campaigner, like, yeah, it was just interesting how that voice really quietened down. So yeah, I think there's something in that. I don't know what my point is there, but there's something.
Yeah, I know what the point is. I think if you focus on the good things about you and what makes you feel good, what brings you joy, what makes you feel yourself, then all the other things are like second row from that. I do agree, and I feel the same way. And it's beautiful that being a campaigner for you is a thing that makes you proud of yourself, that brings you joy, that makes you realize how much value you bring to a room. So sharing this is actually a really good piece of advice for everyone listening, because if you're having a bad day, a bad self-image day, maybe a tip could be focusing as much as possible on the good things, on what have you been doing that served you well, or what have you been doing that made you feel valuable in a way, but to yourself, not to someone else, but also to someone else. What the point is here is like focus on the positive. I know it's like something that people say, but it's actually that, like making the effort of not just judging yourself on how you look like, what you look like, but what brings me joy and how do I bring joy to other people, and do more of that. So then we feel valued, and then we change the perception of ourselves.
I think there's something really powerful in finding ways to take yourself out of your body. So it's really interesting because you're really good as my friend, and you know, whatever, like you are very good at bringing.
I am your friend, Laura. It's
okay,
fine.
good. So could you see the panic? I was like, did we just become best friends?
Friends, we are friends. It's okay.
We're friends, not best friends. Okay. You're very good at reminding me to be in the present, whether that's through breathing exercises like what we did at the beginning of the podcast. And those moments of kind of sitting in your body and kind of tuning in are really important. But I also think it's the other extreme that can be really powerful. So doing a task or doing something that takes you out of your body, you know. something where you're basically in flow.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So it's the two extremes, isn't it? Just to get us out of our brains that are telling us, you know, your life is all about how you're being perceived by other people right now. And it's like, no, it's not.
100%. Yes. Exercises of mindfulness, but also doing something else apart from thinking about your flows and do something fun. For example, go for some shopping. This takes me, what you just said reminded me of the Trini Takeover show. That for people that haven't watched it, is a web series where Trini takes people on a journey of self-confidence through shopping, hair, makeup, and we recreated a new series of makeovers. Trini used to do makeovers in the 90s, what not to wear. But now the Trini Takeover show aims to be more inclusive, more like of the times. And yeah, we had the privilege to have you as one of our contributors and to have you for a whole day with us and to see a whole journey of you physically, but also with your confidence. Also, it was really, really special. And what you said earlier about sometimes if you change something on the outside, will make you feel differently on the inside. It's also something that with the Trini Takeover show we tried to achieve in terms of like, let's put these people in a beautiful outside situation, like great clothes, a haircut that suit them, makeup that make them feel amazing, and let's see if their perception of the self then can shift, as well as like a day with Trini of kind of like talking therapy in a way of like of asking a lot of personal questions for people to actually reflect on themselves and challenge themselves and accept the challenge, because Trini makes you accept the challenge and have a little shift on whatever is your journey at the moment. So it was really beautiful to see you on that day and to see that going shopping together, finding some outfits that initially maybe you weren't confident in.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not someone that loves the process of shopping, not only because I've avoided mirrors for so long, but you know, I'm not just a bald woman or a woman that's wearing a wig. I am a plus size woman, you know, and I've always felt like, I can't believe I have to say this, and it's not something I think this should come with a trigger warning. I've always felt like the fat, ugly friend in my group, whether that be at school or at university or even in the workplace. I hate that I have to say that, but I know that that is a feeling that other people will have had. And it's a horrible feeling. So like shopping for a bridesmaid dress for my best friend, I remember being in that dressing room and the woman helping us find dresses saying, well, this woman looks lovely, but this lady over here obviously has very broad shoulders. And, you know, so we need to find something that's flattering for her body shape as well. And I remember being mortified and crying and crying and crying when I got home. So that had been my experience of shopping in recent memory. So I put myself forward for the Trini Takeover show because just like everything else I say yes to and do and put myself forward for, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. And I knew it was going to be a challenge, but my God, I did not know how brilliantly challenging Trini is as a brand, as a human, as a, you know, woman. She's just amazing. The whole day was like, boom, boom, boom. Oh, you think this about yourself? Why? What do you know, you would never wear this. Why? Like every single moment. And I just had to go with it. I just succumbed to it. And that was the best possible way. And it was the best experience. And yeah, that I'd specifically submitted or applied. I'd specifically applied to go on the Trini Takeover show because I knew I was starting a new job in a couple of months' time. And to that point, I had yet to ever go into a workplace not wearing a wig. And for me, it felt like with all the campaigning I was doing online and in my personal life, how I was showing up and choosing to ditch the wig, you know, for my own personal reasons, I needed to kind of bring that into my working life and professional life as well, or at least challenge, as Trini would, why isn't it professional to dress for work without a wig on? Why? And what is it that makes you feel you can't do that? Or why wouldn't you be accepted like that? So that was the real focus for me that day. So yeah, we found a banging cobalt blue like power suit, which I then went on to wear on this morning with Trini when we went and talked about the series, which was another incredible bucket list milestone moment. So yeah, I mean, it's just that whole thing was definitely like a trampoline of confidence, you know, like it was great.
Yeah, and a good reminder then eventually that you can be professional with and without the wig,
Yeah.
right? And you can date with and without the wig, and you can be Laura with and without a wig.
That one I'm still working on. I told you,
Ooh.
like I totally believe it and I totally see it. I think it's going to be interesting going into autumn and winter for practical reasons. Like I don't want to wear a wig in summer because it's just been stifling, you know, and like the comfort thing comes first. That's always been the driving force. So I listen to my body now. I'm taking it back to the source. Why would I wear a wig every single day for 12-hour days if I know it's going to aggravate my eczema? Yeah. I don't want to do that anymore. But can I show up and wear a wig to work? Right now, I could, but I know that I would probably get a reaction because they've only ever seen me as bald Laura. So even though I know I'm Laura, both wig and without, it's that thing again of there is still something about people feeling they can comment on your appearance. And it's natural to an extent. When there's a change to appearance, people want to understand. They want to understand the choice behind that or what's happened. Realistically, if I showed up at work in a wig, I would get comments about it. And it is hilarious because, you know, 12 months before, it would have been the other way around. I will do it at some point just to prove to myself I can, because it's like my confidence to be bald Laura has gone so far one way now. I can't remember the last time I wore a wig, which is incredible. I never thought I would be at a point where I could say that. Like, it's amazing. And I think after 17 years of wearing a wig every single day, I'm due this time of just this epoch of being bald Laura for a bit. And then hopefully I'll balance it out and work out I can show up however I want to. But if I never wear a wig again, that's great. If I go back to wearing wigs 6 months out of a year, depending on the season, that's great. It's not that wigs are bad. It's not that wearing alternative hair is bad. It's not that there's one good or one bad. It's not that to be someone who embraces your hair loss or your visible difference, you have to refuse to disguise it or hide it. Like, I really don't believe that. Some of the best and most incredible alopecians I know are people that wear wigs most days. It's definitely a state of mind over what you're choosing to put on your head or not. And it's something I'm still working on for sure. But yeah, doing stuff like Trini Takeover and, you know, carving out that space to let people challenge me and ask me the big questions. Even doing this right now is really helpful. I think sometimes just stopping and having someone do the head tilt and say, but why? It's really helpful, because when do we do that in daily life?
True. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We have to... No, that was a mic drop moment. Like, sometimes I just want to be silent and like
I appreciate all the thanks.
get everything in. No, I mean, I believe, I know I say a lot of thank yous, but I believe that every answer that you give me with the vulnerability and openness and the beautiful language you use, they are gifts. Like every single one, I see them as gifts. So I want to thank you for every single one.
Oh,
of
I
them.
love that. That's very sweet.
You know what I mean? That's why. So yeah, we have 10 minutes left, so we have to wrap this up. But I prepared a little quick fire questions. Just 3 questions, unexpected.
Oh, talk about challenge. Here we go. Cool.
We love a challenge. 1. Do you have a fun story about a body part that you hated at first, but then allowed you to get away with something and you've been grateful for it since?
Cool. Oh. Allow me to get away with something.
I gave it, yeah.
I mean, so it's not a body part, but it was an extension of me for all those years, the wig. I was making out with a boy in a club at uni, and he pulled away from me mid-kiss and looked at my hair and looked at my face and went, "Your hair's really weird." And I got up off his lap where I had been straddling him in public. Thank you, 19-year-old Laura. And left the club, went home and made out with another boy in my halls because fuck him. And yeah, so I'd say the challenge of my wig and the shame I felt for it actually drove me right into the arms of someone else in a kind of, yeah, whatever moment. So it allowed me to get away with that behaviour, which, screw it, why not? Like, so I turned a challenge and absolute horror into, actually, no, on reflection, I was seeking validation from one man straight to another. Oh my God, I've just seen this in a whole new light.
Well, that could be connecting with the second question.
Could you see the wheels?
No, but I mean, it was a great answer for my first question. And also, you were not prepared on any of this, so I love this. So, 2, what's your favorite non-human thing you like interacting with your body?
Is it weird that my instinct was tuna? And I don't want it to touch my body in any way.
Tuna is perfect. Do we want to expand? Do we not? Up to you.
It's wet and flaky.
What?
It's wet and flaky. I don't want it to touch my body at all. It's just halfway through the question. ADHD, my brain just went tuna, say tuna, say tuna.
Right.
Fine. Interacting with my body. An object that is not part of my body, but interacting with my body.
That you like.
I like.
We don't want tuna.
Down with tuna. I'm trying to think. Sensations, you know, neurodivergent. What do I like? There are lots of things I don't like touching with my...
We can go there if you want.
Felt, velvet, dishes when they've just come out of the dishwasher. Or, yeah, but what do I like? My boyfriend touching me.
That's still human, but we take it
Crap.
as non-human.
Oh my God, I just called my boyfriend an inanimate object.
Alien. Hi.
I mean...
That is valid. That's okay. 3rd and last, do you have any fun fact about yourself that nobody listening to this podcast should know?
Should know.
Or shouldn't know?
I mean, the tuna comment.
You revealed yourself, tuna. You revealed yourself, Laura.
And you know what's wrong? Well, there's many things that are wrong with this answer. But until the age of 6, I referred to tuna sandwiches as birdie sandwiches, but they're fish. And my mum never corrected me. Wow. Yeah. So that's something that probably no one knows, which is weird.
I love that we know here for the first time. Thank you.
That I think tuna's a bird and I like it to touch me.
Love. Like, this is golden nuggets.
No. Tuna.
Tuna nuggets. Amazing. Well, we're going to finish going back to the exercise in a second. But before that, plugs. Is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to share? Anything? Where can people find you?
So if people like what they hear...
They will.
I promise I don't post about tuna half as much as I've spoken about it in this podcast. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Relight Alopecia, like the Take That song, Relight My Fire, and then Alopecia. I'm also on LinkedIn, where I try and talk more about showing up in the workplace as a bald woman. Yes.
Fab. Okay, so I thank you so much for all these answers. I had such a good time. I love it. My idea to finish this is like to get you to close your eyes again. Mm-hmm. Breathe again 3 times. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So if now you had to reconnect with that part of the body, say, hello, I'm back.
That wasn't me farting.
Was that you? So if you had to reconnect to that part of the body, what would that part of the body say now? After our conversations, after how you've been feeling, is there anything that body part is telling you now?
It's interesting. After however long we've been in this blue room, my tummy is feeling so much more settled than it was. I don't know if the release of just talking so openly or having a giggle at the end, you know, like, I don't know. It just feels so much calmer than it was. Whereas before I felt I kind of had a knot in my stomach. I generally in my body right now feel more at peace. And I do think maybe even the 6 breaths we've done in the last hour has made a huge difference. So thank you.
Thank you. And this leads me to the very last question, which is, if your body, either that part of the body or your entire body as a being, could talk and could share a message with the world, what would that be?
I think my body would want to say, put my physical comfort ahead of anyone else's social discomfort. Because, you know, you've only got this one body, and I'm screaming out to you to listen to me and, like, you know, not cover your sore skin with this or not put this thing on that's going to hurt it. So just to listen to it more and definitely prioritise its wellness and comfort over any fear of anyone else's social discomfort.
And you can open your eyes.
I already have.
Okay, I haven't. Thank you so much. This is ridiculous. That was very special. Thank you again. I'm going to thank you because, again, everything you said is a gift. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for your time and thank you for your wisdom. And yeah, I'm sure this episode will inspire a lot of people. So thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.